Welcome to your daily workout. Today's workout is about 35 minutes of full body, high intensity interval training, working through 3 different sets, targeting the full body. Let's get into it. We are gonna head straight into our warm-up, starting on one side of our mat. We have a slow plank walkout. So starting with your feet about hip width apart, toes are forward. You're gonna reach your hands towards the floor, slowly walking out into a high plank, dropping your hips here, pulling your core in tight, pausing for a second, and then walking your hands back to your feet, standing all the way up, and repeat. So we have about 35 minutes today of full body, high intensity interval training, working through 3 sets of 4 movements, 2 rounds through, 50 seconds on, 15 seconds off. So a little bit longer for the work today, but also a little bit longer for the rest. We'll take 60 seconds of rest in between each set to recover before we continue. Good, go ahead and rest where you're at. You can slowly make your way to the floor, moving into a slow sit-up, warming up the core, starting on your back. Feet are planted, knees are bent. You're gonna create momentum to sit yourself up and then press your low back onto the floor as you lower down and repeat here again for about 25 seconds, taking it nice and slow, breaking down our form. You're gonna refer to the timer on the screen for when to work and when to rest. You can refer to the previews as well. I will offer modifications as we go along to make things more difficult or again, more modified at any point. If you need to take extra rest, please do so. Jump back in when you're able to. This workout today is meant to challenge you. We are getting in and out, making the most out of a 35-minute class, working the full body. Setting up our high plank position, fingertips are forward, screwing your palms into the floor, coming off of your knees. We're gonna go into a walking mountain climber. So starting on the left side, bringing your knee in towards your chest, back to center, planting both feet, moving to the same thing on the opposite side. So pressing off your foot, driving your knee in, alternating each rep. Key here is to try to keep your hips stable as best as you can. Belly button is pulled into your spine. Continuing to warm the core and the upper body. We're here for 10. Good, here for 3. And rest, awesome job. Go ahead and turn back onto the floor. Moving into a glute bridge, warming up the glutes. Feet are planted, knees again are bent. Lifting your hips up, squeezing your glutes at the top, pausing for a second. And then again, pressing your low back onto the floor as you lower and reset. So for each set today, our first movement is gonna focus on an upper body and core movement. The second movement is gonna be a lower body movement. The third movement today is gonna be an isometric hold. And then the fourth movement of each set is gonna be a cardio focused movement. So with that combination today, that is going to make today's workout. Go ahead and rest. Last movement of our warm-up, we're gonna move into an alternating reverse lunge. So lunging your leg back, pressing off your opposite foot to stand. Knee stays in line with your toe. We're gonna add on to this movement. So I wanna make sure we're breaking down our form. So that front knee stays in line with your toe, chest is up, core is engaged, here for about 25. So again, the combination of each movement in each set is gonna make today's workout. We are working the full body, so every muscle group, and then getting our heart rate up. We'll take break before we move into the next set, like I mentioned, but we'll continue to feel the fatigue as we work through. And rest. Awesome job. Go ahead and shake it out for a couple seconds. If you need to, grab some quick water. Otherwise, we are headed straight into our first set. I will show you what the first movement looks like, and then we'll get into it. So starting with set number 1, again, we have 4 movements. First movement is upper body and core focused. Second movement is lower body focused. Third movement is an isometric hold variation, and then the fourth movement is a body weight cardio movement. So starting with set 1, focusing on upper body and core, we're gonna need just a single dumbbell. We're gonna start on our back, going into a weighted single leg V-up. So starting with our weight, we're gonna hold it straight above. So your wrist should be in line with your shoulder as you fully extend your arm. You're gonna keep it at this position. As we begin, you're gonna lift your opposite leg off the floor, so heels off the floor, and then meeting at the center of your core, pressing your low back onto the floor, and then repeat. To make this harder, you can keep both heels off of the floor the entire time as you raise. Modification is to drop that right heel as you continue to work through. So as you hold your weight, you want to make sure that your wrist doesn't go over your shoulder. It stays in line with your shoulder, slightly moves towards the center of your core, and then back in line with your shoulder. So go ahead, make your way to the floor. We are headed straight into set 1, working 50 seconds on, 15 off. I'll show you what the next movement looks like after this. We're on in 5. Top of set 1, movement number 1. So again, opposite leg and opposite arm, meeting at the center of your core. To make this harder, both heels are lifted off the floor. Modification, you can drop that right heel resting on the floor, but pressing your low back onto the ground. Good, that's over halfway for these 2 rounds. We are gonna stick to this side. Once we move into set 2, we'll move to the opposite side. So we have 2 rounds of each set. Repeating each movement twice, give me a couple more. And rest where you're at, great job. Go ahead and slowly make your way to stand. You can grab your second dumbbell. Moving into our lower body movement. We're going into a reverse lunge with a curtsy lunge. We're gonna start with our right foot planted, moving on the left side. Dumbbells are extended with our arms. First rep, going into a reverse lunge, pressing off our opposite foot to stand. Second rep, moving into a curtsy lunge, pressing off our opposite foot to stand. So in that reverse lunge, we lunge back in a straight line. The curtsy lunge, we lunge in a diagonal line. That right foot should stay planted the entire time. Toe stays forward. So looking at this from the side, that first rep, lunging in a straight line. Second rep, lunging in a diagonal line. We're here for 20 seconds, again, sticking to the side. That first movement was upper body and core. This second movement here is targeting the lower body. Go ahead and rest. Great job. Slowly move it back to the floor. Third movement is an isometric hold. We're gonna start on our back, going into a single leg glute bridge iso hold. So starting with both weights extended above your head, you're gonna press off your right foot, bringing your left leg parallel to the other, extending your leg, lifting your hips up, squeezing your glutes at the top. We are holding it right here throughout these 50 seconds. So key here again is to keep your hips lifted, squeezing your glutes. Modification is to drop your weights, just holding your arms overhead. You can go ahead, if you want to make this harder, grab your weights, keeping them extended. That's halfway, here for about 25. We're using this first round to get our form down, and then we're gonna repeat these movements one more time through. So stay with me, continue to hold. And rest, great job. Go ahead and move your dumbbells out of the way. Fourth movement, last movement of our first set. We're going into an alternating jumping jack with a squat jump. So first rep, going into a jumping jack, arms come overhead. Second rep, dropping your hips back into a squat. So it looks like this. First rep, jumping jack. Second rep, driving your knees out, going into a squat, looking at this from the side. Resetting your feet each time, connecting each movement here for about 30 seconds, getting our heart rate up. Good, we're going back straight to our first movement after this. Here for 12. And rest, awesome job. We are headed straight to the top, repeating those movements one more time through. We're back to that single leg V up, starting with your dumbbell in line with your shoulder. Opposite leg moves, we're here for about 50 seconds, same modifications, either keeping that right heel off the floor or letting it rest as you connect each movement. In this second round, we've been through these movements already, so if you can, maintaining your form, picking up the pace a little bit, I'm right here with you. We're gonna start to feel the fatigue a little bit sooner. Continue to press your low back onto the floor. That's over halfway. Give me a couple more, then we're moving straight into that lunge variation. And rest, great job. Slowly make your way to stand. Back to that lunge variation. Our right foot is still planted, so sticking to the same side as we did in that first round. First rep, reverse lunge, second rep, curtsy lunge, lunging in a diagonal line, pressing off that right foot to stand, holding your dumbbells with your arms extended at your side. Palms are facing towards each other here for about 40 seconds. Good, here for 20. Continuing to move at a little bit quicker pace if you can. We're here for 10. And rest, great job. Go ahead and slowly make your way to the floor. Moving into an isometric hold on that same side. So right foot is planted, extending your left leg, bringing your leg to parallel, arms come overhead, lifting your hips up, squeezing your glutes at the top, and hold. You should feel this in your right quad and your glutes. So again, squeeze, engage your glutes at the top, pull your belly button into your spine. Try to fight to keep that left leg parallel, engaging your left quad as well. Good, over halfway, fight to keep those hips up, stay with me. We should start to feel the burn, give me a couple more. We're ending with that cardio movement after this. Drop your hips and rest, great job, move your dumbbells out of the way. Headed into our cardio movement, we have 60 seconds to rest coming up. After this, we're going into the alternating jumping jack with a squat jump. I want you to give me your all for these last 50 seconds of set one. We're on. Good, that's halfway, here for 25. All the way through, we're here for 10. And rest where you're at. Great job. That is the end of set one. Shake it out, catch your breath, let your heart rate come down. So in this rest, go ahead, grab some water, stretch it out if you need to, and then I want you to go into active recovery for these next 45 seconds so you can jog in place, step to the side, but continue to focus on your breathing, letting your heart rate come down while you're there. In 15 seconds, We are headed straight to the top of set 2. When you're ready, you can go ahead and grab a single dumbbell. Make your way to the floor. We're back to that single leg V-up. This time on the opposite side. We're on in 3. Starting with your dumbbell on the left side this time. Wrist is in line with your shoulder. Lifting both heels off the floor. This time your right leg meets towards the center of your core with your left hand slow and controlled on the way down. We've been through this movement 2 times already. Now the second 2 rounds, we're moving to the same thing on the opposite side. So continue to work through as we continue to feel the fatigue. That's halfway. Same modifications, either planting your heel or keeping it lifted. After this movement, we're going back into that reverse lunge to curtsy lunge. Again, same thing on the opposite side. And rest, great job. Slowly make your way to stand. Go ahead and grab your other dumbbell. This time our left foot is gonna be planted, our right leg moves. Again, we've been through this movement 2 times already. Now moving to the opposite side. First movement, reverse lunge. Second movement, diagonal lunge. We're here for 50. Same form here. Front knee should always stay in line with your toe. Your left toe should stay forward as best as you can the entire time. We're here for 25, that's halfway. Good, here for 15. You're doing so good. Stay with me here for 10. Give me one more on each side for 5. And rest, great job. Slowly make your way to the floor. 15 seconds to transition. Moving to that single leg glute bridge. This time your left foot is planted, right leg is extended. Lifting your hips up, holding it here for 50 seconds. Good, squeeze your glutes at the top. Same thing in this movement on the opposite side. Your right leg should be parallel, engaging both quads. But now again, we're targeting that left quad and then our glutes. We're gonna start to feel the burn a lot sooner. That's okay, that's where we're supposed to be. So fight to keep your hips up that over halfway. We're working through this isometric hold right before cardio for a reason. Stay with me and drop your hips and rest. Headed into cardio for our 4th movement of set 2, going into a mountain climber. So staying on the floor in our high plank position, we're gonna drive our knee in, alternating each rep. In our warm-up, we practice a walking climber. So that's the modification, is to walk your feet in, alternating each rep. For this jumping version, again, you're driving your knee in, alternating. We're here for 40. That's halfway. Fight through this, we're here for 20. Drop down to your knees and rest. Amazing job. We're headed back to the top, working one more round through. Back to that single leg V-up. This is the last time in this movement. Closing them out for this second round. We are back on with the right side. Good, again, in this movement, your wrist should stay in line with your shoulders. Your dumbbell will move towards the center of your core, but then it won't go past your shoulders as you reset. We're over halfway. Good, fight through the burn. This movement entirely goes away. After this, give me a couple more. And rest, awesome job. Make your way to stand. Last time in this lunge variation on this side, left foot is planted going into a reverse lunge with a curtsy lunge. This movement also goes away after this here for 25. Good, here for 15. Making our way to the floor in 5. And rest, great job. Last time in this single leg glute bridge. Left foot is planted, right leg is extended. Last 50 seconds here. I want you to try to fight to keep your hips up throughout the timer. Closing this movement out here, we're on. Good, stay focused. Put your mind in a different place when you start to feel the fatigue. I know you can hold it through all the way to the end. We are flying through this workout. After this second set, we just have one more set and that's it. We are over halfway here for about 20 seconds. We are ending with cardio and then we have a full minute off to catch our breath. So fight to stay up for a few more. Drop your hips and rest. Move your weights out of the way. Again, just 50 more seconds before we have rest. We're closing out round 2 with the mountain climber modification is to go into that walking version. We're on in 3. I want you to give me your all in this movement all the way through here for 50. Awesome job, we're here for 30. Dig deeper, show up for you. Fight to keep going here for 20. Good, don't give up on yourself. We're so close to the end. We have 60 seconds to rest coming your way in 5. Drop down to your knees and rest. Catch your breath. You're absolutely crushing it. Grab some water, same thing here. Continue to let your heart rate come down. And then if you can, go ahead and step to the side, continuing to go into active recovery before we head into our 3rd and final set. We are on in about 20 seconds. You can continue to rest for a few more while I show you what the first movement of set 3 looks like. We're going into a sit-up with a dumbbell curl. So this is our upper body and core focused movement. We are on in 5. Starting with our feet planted, knees are bent. We're gonna lift our elbows off of the floor. Palms are facing up, elbows are bent. We're gonna sit ourselves up. After we sit up, we're gonna bring our dumbbells to our shoulders in that dumbbell curl, and then slowly lowering down, keeping our elbows off the floor, pressing our low back onto the floor, and repeat. So again, looking at this a little bit faster, we're sitting up, going into a dumbbell curl, maintaining this position as we lower back in that sit-up. Modification is to keep your weights by your feet, going into a sit-up, then picking them up for a dumbbell curl, dropping them, and repeat. Otherwise, advanced version is to continue to maintain this position, bending at the elbows, going into a curl, focusing on upper body and core. Good job. 15 seconds off. Slowly make your way to stand. Our lower body movement, we're combining a reverse deadlift with a squat clean to a calf raise. I'm gonna show you what this looks like from the side. First rep, hinging at the hips for a deadlift. Second rep, curling our weights to shoulder height, squat clean. Then we go into a calf raise. So deadlift, curl your weights to shoulder height, squat, driving your knees out, pressing your heels up into a calf raise. So work through this slow for the first few reps. And then if you can, once you get it down, you can start to pick up the pace. As we go into that deadlift, we're hinging at the hips with a slight bend in your knee, targeting the hamstrings. When you bring your dumbbells to shoulder height, you're curling in a straight line, dropping your hips back, driving your knees out, and then lifting your heels off the floor, engaging your calves. We're here for 10. And rest. Great job. Move one dumbbell out of the way. We're gonna go in a side plank position. We have our isometric hold. We're gonna start on our right forearm. Our bottom leg is gonna be bent. We're gonna lift our hips up off of the floor, and then we're gonna raise that left leg off of the floor as well. So you should feel this, again, in your oblique, keeping your hip up. You should also feel this in the top of your glute. Option to make this harder, you can hold a weight overhead, maintaining this isometric hold position. So engaging your core, pulling your core in tight. We're gonna be on this side for the entire time for round one. For that second round, we're gonna move to our left forearm. So stay with me for a couple more. Good, all the way through the timer. And rest, great job. Heading into our fourth movement. You know what to expect. We have cardio. We're going into that plank walkout. We practice this nice and slow. In our warm-up, we're gonna pick up the pace to get our heart rate up. This is our last movement of today's workout, and then we're gonna repeat it one more time through. So walking your hands into a high plank, pausing for a second, walking your hands back towards your feet, and continue working as fast as you can, focusing on core stability here for 35. We have less than 5 minutes left total of this workout, and that's it. Give me a couple more, we're here for 20. Awesome job, here for 10. Finish where you're at in 3. Rest. 4 more movements left to today's workout. One more round through, and that's it. No surprises. We're gonna finish this strong. We're back to that sit up with a dumbbell curl. Picking up the pace. Modification is to leave your weight by your feet and then pick it up after that sit up, making this harder. You're maintaining this position with your elbows bent, keeping them off the floor, curling your weights, feeling the tension on the way down. Again, pressing your low back onto the ground as well, here for 30. I want you to fight through the burn in these last few movements. We are feeling it. I promise it's worth it. Here for 15. Here for 5. and rest. Great job. Slowly make your way to stand back into that deadlift, squat clean with the calf raise. So first rep, a deadlift, curling your weights to shoulder height into a squat, and then lifting your heels off the floor to engage your calves here for 50. After you go into that calf raise, you're resetting your feet, making sure your weight is balanced, and then repeat. We are over halfway. We are headed back to that side plank position, going into that isometric hold on the opposite side. We're here for 12. And rest. Great job. Move a single dumbbell out of the way. Come to your left forearm. Second to last movement of today's workout. Again, that bottom leg is bent, top leg is extended. You can do this with your body weight or with the weight. Lifting your hips up, feeling this in your left oblique. Raising that right leg, feeling this in the top of your glute. Holding that dumbbell up, trying to fight to maintain this position as best as you can. We're holding it here for 35 seconds. And then we just have that plank walkout. And that is it for today's workout. Again, it flies by. You are doing so good. Set an intention for the remainder of this movement and then our final movement. We are so close to the end. Give me a couple more. Here for 12. Holding it here for 5. Drop your hips, move your dumbbell out of the way. Last 50 seconds left of our workout. We are finishing strong with confidence, with purpose. Together, we're back on in that plank walkout in 3. This is where we finish. Walking your hands towards your feet, standing all the way up, using the strength of your core that's halfway. "15 seconds left of this workout. Through the timer, we're here for 5. And rest. Awesome job. Full body hits, absolutely crushed. Way to stick through. Go ahead, let your heart rate come down. Take a few seconds, grab some water, and then we are gonna head straight into our cool down. You can slowly make your way to the floor, starting in the seated position with your legs extended. You're gonna cross your right leg over the left, and then using your arms to slightly pull in, feeling this in your glute, slightly twisting to the side. Way to get in and out today in about 35 minutes, targeting the full body. So again, we worked through 3 sets with 4 movements, 2 rounds through, 50 seconds on, 15 seconds off, and then 60 seconds of rest with a little bit of active recovery in between each set. Go ahead and switch sides, crossing your left leg over your right, holding it here for about 30. So with those 4 movements, the first movement targeted upper body and core, second movement targeted lower body, the third movement was an isometric hold right before our 4th movement, focusing on cardio, getting our heart rate up. So we repeated that 2 times through. Way to stick through. Went by quick, definitely felt the burn at the end. So way to show up for yourself, making time for you. Good, you can stand back up. We're gonna go into a standing forward fold. So feet are about hip width apart, bending at the waist, folding forward, reaching your hands towards your feet, feeling this in your hamstrings, and hold. and rest. Stretching out the upper body, you can bring your right arm overhead using your opposite hand to slightly pull and then bending to the side. So stretching out in this overhead position, but also stretching out the oblique. We'll hold it here for about 15 and then we'll move to the same thing on the opposite side. If you're new here, I have 3 different class types: upper body and core, lower body strength, and then full body HIIT like this one. I have both beginner and advanced version of every single workout for these dumbbell workouts. Go ahead and switch sides, moving to the same thing on the left, holding it here for the final 30. Good, holding it here for about 5. And rest. That is the end of full body HIIT, working through those sets. Way to stick through. Thank you so much for working out with me, and I'll see you in the next one.